So Salesforce is firing 10% of their HQ staff over in San Francisco. Pretty nuts. To be exact, 262 layoffs in San Francisco, their primary location, and then another 93 layoffs at their Washington location. But guys, this comes off the back of laying off 4,000 customer service reps. They laid off 40% of their customer service staff. Why, you might ask? Nope, it's not a bunch of Indians that they're hiring and outsourcing. Nope, they did not have a bad quarter. It is artificial intelligence. CEO Marc Benioff has announced that AI agentics are completely transforming the way that they are growing their business and the way that they're serving their customers. And they're not alone. Microsoft with Copilot and ChatGPT completely transforming the way they serve enterprises. HubSpot is integrating AI tools all over the place in their sales and marketing funnel. That's somewhere that I do a lot of work in for clients. Is happening all over the place. CEO Marc Benioff says his vision for Salesforce is to be, quote, the modern agentic enterprise. And essentially what's happening with these tech companies like Salesforce is they are leveraging AI to automate basic entry-level roles, rebalance the headcount, and focus on the higher growth areas. And again, one of the common things I hear from you guys on the channel, which by the way, if you have a comment, feel free to leave it below. I'm happy to address and engage with you down there. There's some really, really good comments down there. And by the way, if you leave a really good, well thought out comment, I'll pin you. I'll pin your comment if it's really good, if it's well educated, maybe you have some personal experience. Leave a great comment below, I will pin you. Right now, there's probably my AI newsletter there, which is aiupdate.ai, which you can check out. I strongly encourage you to check out the newsletter, aiupdate.ai. But again, if you leave a good comment, I'll pin you. And by the way, telling me something like, Mark, you're not masculine enough, or, Mark, you're not handsome enough, that is not a great comment. I think it's funny, and you're welcome to post that, but at any rate, I digress. So before you say, Mark, they are laying off people because they're not doing well financially. Guys, that's not the case. They released their Q2 financial earnings. Their Q2 earnings for Salesforce, $10.24 billion, a 10% increase in revenue. So they're doing all right, guys. They're making a lot of money. They're growing. They're applying AI all across the board. And so today I'm just going to kind of briefly talk about the specific roles that they are laying off. And then we're going to talk about how this is going to impact you and your organization. And then we're going to briefly talk about how you can kind of prepare and plan, whether you're a leader or if you're an employee at one of these companies. So again, what are the jobs being impacted? Well, I recorded an entire video, put a link to it here, on the customer service reps. Again, 4,000 customer service reps gone. In that video, I go into more detail, but Benioff said that AI is basically handling 50% of their customer service tasks at this point. And sure, he could be just saying that so he gets more and more enterprises on board with Salesforce, but that's what he says, and the proof's in the pudding. He laid off a bunch of people. Again, whole video's up there. Today I want to talk about these HQ, headquarter type of roles he's laying off, because I find this interesting. So out of the 262 headquarter firings, there's 161 technology and product layoffs. And while they don't state the very specific job descriptions, that entails things like software engineering, development, AI, model development, product management, design, data analytics. Data analytics, guys, if you're not using AI for data analytics and chart reading, I mean, unbelievable. This is something I started doing. Anytime I'm looking at a chart, I just throw it into ChatGPT and I say, what do you see? What are some conclusions you can make off of this? And the better you have trained your ChatGPT or AI model on your business, on your personal goals, the department that you're in, the better your results get. I just get some really, really profound insights from just having ChatGPT look at charts. And then when I go into meetings with other leaders in the organization, I look like a freaking genius. So quick tip you can take to the bank. If you want more tips, you can go to aiupdate.ai and get subscribed. I'll hook you up with more tips there. So there's 161 tech and product. There were 97 general administration roles, which is going to be HR, event coordinators, project managers, finance, various administrative support roles included in there, which again, not surprising. HR, I've been talking about this a lot on the channel. HR reps are in serious trouble. That industry is just changing dramatically. We'll talk about that here in just a moment. and then 4 sales and distribution jobs. So account executives, sales reps, biz dev, SDR workers, customer success. Again, they're only firing 4 sales and distribution reps, so it's kind of hard to say exactly what they're looking at here, but those are the firings that occurred. Now, what I want to do though is not just focus on Salesforce. I like to take these news stories, these trends that are happening in the industry, and say, well, how does this impact my organization? How does this impact the companies that I'm doing sales and marketing consulting for and I'm working on growth for? How does this impact them? How does it impact the workers? Listen, I'm a man. If you may have noticed, an incredibly masculine man for the people that hated on me for my fertility video. I'm doing my part, okay? I'm doing my part. Anyway, I'm a man. I've got a family. I have an innate need for respect. I have a need for relevancy. I want to be relevant in the world, and I want to be financially free. I don't want to be wondering where my next meal is coming from. And in an AI world where things are changing really rapidly, we need to be aware of this, guys. We can't just be sitting on the bed playing Xbox and eating Cheetos. I really enjoy that. It was a nice part of my life, but that's not where I'm living anymore. That's not the world that we live in. If you're watching this video, you're wanting to try to understand where's the world going, what are the trends in major organizations, and how can I adjust? So let's talk about that for just a moment, okay? So what's happening? Companies are automating routine tasks. This is happening all over the place. You're probably already seeing it in the companies that you're involved in, the projects you're in. AI is being infused and automated in tons and tons of routine tasks. The problem that most organizations are having right now is that the execution is poor, piss poor. The execution of these AI strategies is really bad. And I recorded a video on this the other day. You can check it out here. 55% of companies that have rolled out AI and fired staff, basically they replace their staff with AI, 55% regret that decision. Why? Because they weren't ready for it. Their first party data is muddled. They don't have the right people in place. They don't have the right training in place. I think one of the problems that organizations have is they just say, hey, everybody learn AI and use AI, and then we're gonna meet up in a week and we're gonna figure out what happened. This technology is so new. And I think that's a reason why a lot of the people that watch the channel and leave comments are say stuff like, AI can't take my job, we tried it, it didn't work. I get that, guys. The game hasn't even started yet, boys. The game hasn't even started yet. AI is going to get freaking crazy. And when you see companies like Salesforce taking huge leaps, firing people, automating more, they're gonna set a standard. They're gonna set industry standards. One of the best ways to learn, that I found this to be true, one of the best ways to learn an industry is go and work with someone who's doing it well, who's executing on a high level. It's really hard to paint a picture from scratch. But if you can go to an organization that's crushing it, you learn what they're doing that works, you can go and take that and replicate it within other organizations. And that is exactly what's going to happen with AI. All these 55% of companies that have regretted firing for AI, once industry standards and SOPs and softwares and tech stacks get put into place, it's going to be implemented all over the place, and you're going to see this drop from 55% regret to 2% regret. It's just going to become an industry standard, guys. And this is exactly what's the next point? Well, this is not just Salesforce that's doing it. Oracle is using AI tools at scale. I recorded a video about this just the other day. They fired 10% of their Indian workforce. I recorded an entire video. They terminated 10% of their Indian workforce. And I don't understand this, guys. A lot of people in the comments will say stuff like, AI does not mean artificial intelligence, doesn't mean LLM or stable diffusion or whatever. What AI means is it's always an Indian, and they're just covering up that they're outsourcing other countries. I just don't understand this mentality, because when you see what, all the Indian viewers on the channel are terrified because they see that their jobs are being outsourced to AI, so I just don't, it doesn't compute with me. Side note, companies have been outsourcing to India, the Philippines, to Pakistan, Bangladesh for years. So it's not like they need to use AI as a smokescreen for that. I don't fully get that argument. But yeah, Salesforce and Oracle both using AI tools for coding, testing design. And what they're doing is they're not expanding their teams in a traditional sense. What they're doing is they've stopped hiring the bottom rung. They're not hiring college graduates anymore. Boom, another video that I recorded where the college graduate unemployment rate has skyrocketed. Kids are going to college, taking hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and not able to get jobs. That is also happening. And it's because what companies are doing is they're not hiring the bottom rung of the career ladder, and instead they are training and giving AI tools to people at higher rungs of the ladder. So these people, they just don't need the same level of service that they need in the past. And I'll give you an example of something that I ran into about 2.5 years ago. I used to pay, so I was in podcast and media production. I had a company, we were writing blogs and stuff for clients. And in the past, I would have to pay $100 to someone to write a blog for their website, right? $100. Well, what happened? AI happened, guys. And that cost dropped from $100 to write an article to $5 to write an article. Because the AI can write an entire summary, and then I have someone go in and just kind of clean it up, humanize it a bit. So it dropped the cost just an immense amount. So what's my point? My point is that just the cost of having a lot of roles has changed. And again, you just don't need the same amount of people at the bottom rung of the ladder, reading documents, doing data entry, double checking schedules. I mean, hell, I was in a deposition the other day and they had a stenographer on the call who had to type in every single word that was spoken. I said, no offense, but why do we need you here? The whole thing is going to be recorded and transcribed using transcription software. What is the point? You start to see where you don't necessarily need a human to do this stuff anymore. I think it's pretty obvious to me. Admin and HR, guys. Let's talk about the admin and HR because that was a big chunk of these layoffs. Guys, human resources being almost entirely automated nowadays. McDonald's, and I recorded a video on this. Boom, link here. I'm bringing the receipts, guys, because I'm studying this stuff every day. McDonald's has used an AI program called Paradox AI to screen 64 million job applications. 64 million, okay? And once I started diving deeper into that story, I recognized that, well, it's not just McDonald's. It's Wendy's, it's Chipotle, it's 7-Eleven. All the companies are using AI to screen applicants. This is stuff that was traditionally done by humans. Again, in that video, I go deeper into all the implications, but that's happening. Sales. Sales is being tremendously changed. Now, I'm going to talk about like how we can kind of like adapt and be prepared, and at least the way that I'm preparing for this complete AI revolution that's already happening. But you know, companies are using AI as SDRs to qualify, screen people, move people from marketing qualified to sales qualified leads. We're seeing dynamic landing pages, call bots that, and guys, these are not your grandma's robocallers. These are dynamic AI bots that can really talk the talk. AI voices, unbelievable. Unbelievable. AI voice is just really, really shocking. AI chatbots to engage. I played with a number of AI chatbots. They're just really good at getting calls booked, getting people on the calendar. Again, the stuff that would traditionally be held by a human being is now being done by a bot. And by the way, one of the advantages of these AI bots, at least in the marketing world, is speed to lead. You know, if you're a small organization with, say, 1 or 2 SDRs and 2 to 4 salespeople, it might take it 12 hours to get back to a lead online. Well, now, if you have an AI chatbot, it can engage with someone instantly. Your speed to lead drops from 12 hours to 12 seconds. And in another time of life, when I was working in an insurance company, they identified that the number one factor on delivering a quote to someone was how quickly you call them back. If someone's interested in a quote, every second counts. And that, again, is where AI is really, really changing the sales world. And by the way, it's not going to be as good as a human, but if you're fast enough to engage them, let me give you just one more kind of quick thing here. As humans, we're constantly trying to close psychological loops. And I don't want to go way off here, but we're always trying to close psychological loops, okay? And when you, in this case, are looking for an insurance quote and you submit a request for a quote, the loop is still open. You've just submitted the loop. Well, what happens if you get a response back from someone saying, we got your request, I'm going to call you back in a moment. The psychological loop has been closed. So in this case, someone has requested a quote. If they are not engaged immediately, that psychological loop is still open. This happens all over the place. Your goal here, in some cases you want to keep the psychological loop open, in other cases you want to close it. So anyway, I don't want to go way down psychology and sales and marketing, but it's something that I'm basically doing all day. So anyway, Salesforce is firing a ton of people. Oracle's firing a ton of people. Microsoft's firing a ton of people. It's happening all over the board. We're looking at where it's being impacted. Now let's look at what can you actually do as a human being to prepare for this, so you can, as a man, remain relevant, respected, and financially free in this crazy, crazy AI world. Well, I'm going to give you the three things that I think are probably most important. You can leave other ideas in the comments below. I appreciate that. By the way, if you're still watching, thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for leaving a comment below. It means a difference, and it helps to build the community of just insanely awesome people that are commenting. But what do we do? The first I think is upskilling. We need to be learning more about our roles. We need to be using AI in our jobs. We need to be listening to podcasts about our role. We need to be really focused on learning. It's not about going to college anymore, guys. It's about getting practical and using the tools in our job. And don't be one of the 33% of people that sabotage AI efforts within your organization. That's not the right way to look at this, okay? That's swimming against the tsunami when you should be grabbing a surfboard to surf the tsunami, okay? Secondly, personal brand. You wanna make sure that everyone around you, specifically online in the digital world, understands that you are AI focused, that you're forward thinking, that you're trying and testing different things. Very, very important moving forward. If you need to find a new job, if you wanna work and create new partnerships, your personal brand online is very important. And lastly, your relationships, guys. When we're moving into a digital world where everything is digital and very informal and it's speaking to chatbots, the best way to remain relevant and to find opportunities is with your personal relationships. So do not sacrifice those. Go to conferences, start a podcast, make phone calls, dedicate time. But the relationships that you have are gonna make a big difference, guys. They're gonna make a big difference. Listen, if you enjoyed today's video, I appreciate it. I'm recording new videos every day of the week except Sunday, because on Sunday we rest. But if you like this video, I think you'll really like yesterday's video where we talk about the St. Louis Fed and their newest study, which connects AI to unemployment. I think it's really interesting. We cover it at length. There's charts, graphs. You're gonna enjoy that. Check it out. The video's right here. I'll see you there. All right, boys. See ya. Peace.